Hello and welcome to Berwick. I'm trying out a new microphone today, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me a bit better, but a couple of things working against me today. First thing, it's quite windy, so I might pick up a lot of wind noise. Secondly, for a little town, this place has got a lot of people, and a lot of people means a noisy place. So hopefully you'll hear me today and we'll see how it goes. This is the Stevenson Viaduct. It was opened in 1850. Forms part of the East Main Line between London and Edinburgh. Behind me is the old medieval castle. The earliest record of it was in 1160. It was probably started by King David I of Scotland in the early 1100s. 1291, this was the place where Edward I, Longshanks, went and had his meeting with the Scottish nobles to decide who would be King of Scotland. In 1296, Edward returned here and took Berwick back off the Scots after the Scots had sided with the French in a war that Edward was fighting in France. I'm not sure you'll see it on this camera, but this section of the medieval wall is known as breakneck stairs because the battlements look like stairs and you likely break your neck if you try to walk down them. They accumulate on a gunnery tower next to the river. The original tower was in 12th century, was washed away, and this is a replacement from the 16th century. It's a nice little river gate, this. This looks as though it would be where the gate was. Sadly, it's channeling the wind. There's a bit of a closer view of the breakneck stairs. It's also known as the White Wall. And this is the gunnery from the 16th century. I'm going to have the guns placements here. Yeah, pretty commanding view of the river from this position. That's why it was a strategic defensive place. I appreciate how wide the Tweed is here. This makes this a strategic place for both defence and trade. Apparently the Tweed is the 10th longest river in the United Kingdom. It's easy to forget what a mighty river this is, especially when you go further up the river. It becomes more like a stream than a river. These are the breakneck stairs. I don't think you're supposed to be coming along here, like. Let's have a look. This is the breakneck stairs, and unfortunately I can't go any further, which is probably just as well, to be honest. Don't want to break my neck trying to give you an idea how steep they are, which is why they're called the breakneck stairs. That time of year again. I'll have to go out blackberry picking soon. Stock up the freezer with some blackberry crumbles during the winter. Nice little pavilion here. Good place to stop for lunch, I think. The walk I'm doing today was formulated by the Royal Geographical Society, and I'll put a link below so anyone else can follow it if they want to. Obviously I'm making some slight differences, slight detours. My starting point was different. I started off at the car park because I came by car, not by train. But it looks an interesting walk. I'm not going to bore you with every single thing that was in the leaflet, but I'll mention a few things as we go along. Constable Tower forms part of 9 towers that Edward III added to the original medieval fortifications. There was also a curtain wall which had even more towers on it. This here is Constable's Tower. It's now on the driveway to a B&B. It's marked private, not supposed to be here. But as it forms part of the Royal Society's walk of Berwick, I can't see why I shouldn't be allowed to come and have a look at it. So I did. As with Newcastle and Fort William as well, the Victorians decided to build the railway station in the middle of the old medieval castle. Although, to be fair, a large part of the stone had already been taken to build houses inside the town centre. Behind me is Bell Tower. The current tower was built in 1570. It's on the site of one of 19 towers that Edward III had built in the 14th century. The outer wall had 19 towers and 5 gates. The inner wall had 9 towers, of which Constable Tower was one of them, which we saw before. Here's a small map of the Elizabethan fortifications, which we'll be going to have a look at soon, which Berwick's famous for. Up here is where the bell tower is, where we are now. Apparently it was used to warn of Scots invading, and it was last rung in 1683. And the tower apparently was built in 1577. I think it was the 1570s, but didn't know the exact date. These tourist things are very useful. This here is Lord's Mount. It was started in 1539, the current stone structure that is. Prior to that there was earthworks here. 1522, 1533 they were rebuilt, and in 1539 they started with stone and finished in 1542. It was built by Henry VIII, and it was to make a gun placement for cannon, a new form of warfare. No longer were we using bow and arrows anymore and crossbows. We had gone on to gunpowder. As you see, you've got large gun placements. There's a large fireplace to keep them warm. We've got another fireplace. It was on 2 stories this. This is the first floor of cannons. That was the second floor with cannons. This here is the privy. It had its own water source just behind there, its own well. And the place contained 15 cannons. It was a sign of things to come. This was the second gun placement. There would have been a wooden floor here with cannons here, one, and there's another one here, placements. I'm not exactly sure where all the cannon placements were, but you can at least see 1, 2, 3, 4 5 on the lower floor. And there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4 that I can see on the upper floor, and down below maybe there might have been some more, I don't know, just in case someone had breached the fort. And there's the well for its own water source. A little self-contained gunnery. The more observant of you will be wondering what's happened to the little one. She's back at the caravan. Her friends come up from Newcastle way to see her, and for today they're going to be playing with all the things that the site has to offer. So things like pedlos and what have you. 5's a bit of a crowd, you know. You can fit 4 people in a pedalo quite easy. So the 2 mothers and the 2 children, that kind of leaves me just twiddling my thumbs. So I thought I'll come to Berwick and have a day out of my own. Sadly you'll not see this on an action camera, but either side of the house in front of me, you got Bamborough Castle on this side, and on the other side you got Lindisfarne Castle. For the human eye you can see it as clear as day, but not on the camera unfortunately.